Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ladies of Sosa podcast. My name is Sarah.
And my name is Christine.
And today we are going to be talking about financial literacy and how we can pretty much get the South Sudanese community to be able to, I guess you can say, like, compete in this capitalistic society. Like, there's so many of us in the diaspora, but there's not really a lot of, like, South Sudanese owned businesses, restaurants, lounges. We usually have to go to support other people's
or rent from them. And financial literacy is a huge topic. It's so important in our community. It's kind of, I don't want to say taboo topic because I'm tired of us saying taboo.
Right.
Everything is taboo.
Right.
But people don't feel comfortable talking about money in our community. And that's actually crazy because money is so important, especially growing up here. Like, you need money to be able to survive. So it's something that we should be able to be open and talk about and help each other out so that we can be better as a community and be able to have more resources and stuff. So we thought it would be amazing for us to build a small panel so that we can have this conversation. And hopefully this is the first of many.
Yes.
And we want to introduce the panel and get into it, but we have a very special episode planned today. Yay. I'm excited to learn, and I know Sarah is as well as our panel. We have a mixed panel of all different ages, ranging from are you 18?
18, yes.
From 18 to, I don't want to put you out there, but
40 to 45.
Wow.
Not 45.
Okay, just kidding.
Mid-30s. That's safe to say?
That's safe to say.
Okay. All right. So we have a full panel here, and we are going to start with Mimi. First, Mimi is actually our special guest. So we have been talking with her for the last few months about doing this. She has been doing a lot of financial literacy workshops within the community. She's originally from South Dakota, and she's moved here recently to Dallas, and we're so excited to have her. So I'm going to let her introduce herself and what she does and what she's going to talk about today.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, for having me here. It's been a pleasure, and I'm just so excited because I know you, Christine, since you're young. And so just to see this maturity in you and growth in every aspect, I'm so proud of you. I had to say that.
Thank you.
But hello, everyone. My name is Mimi, and I am from South Sudan. I grew up in South Dakota, lived there pretty much 18 years before moving down here for a job opportunity with my family to Texas. I have been in the financial industry, especially banking, for the last 11 plus years. The last couple of years has been, I've been focusing on teaching my community about financial literacy, importance of planning, importance of saving, building credit, and creating generation wealth. So I have been targeting my own community in South Dakota. I've been hosting some workshop, and the result is amazing. Just to bring that knowledge to someone and to see how it makes a difference in their lives. They're coming back and telling you their success story. It's just been amazing. So I'm so happy to be here to be able to share this knowledge with you guys.
Thank you. I'm glad we could finally make it happen. And right next to her is actually her daughter, the beautiful Lily. I'll let you introduce yourself and kind of let us know what you have going on right now.
Hi, my name is Lily. I am 18 years old. I am a college student. I go to the University of North Texas. I'm majoring in biology on the pre-med route. And I'm here with my mom today just to share the things that she's taught me, as well with like how she's teaching other people. She's also teaching me about financial literacy and like having to unbreak my unhealthy habits, basically, with spending.
Awesome.
They're not going to believe it. They're not going to believe that's mother and daughter.
Right. They look just alike, though. I keep telling that, like copy paste.
It's giving sisters.
Yes.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
And Edward, we don't need an introduction. We'll let Edward introduce himself.
What is good, y'all? Welcome to Ladies of Sosa. My name is Edward Mitri, the Azande, one and only Fresh Prince. Just living life, you know what I'm saying? Studying kinesiology, currently in moment, physical therapy in the future. I'm excited for Miss Mimi to just break it down.
What college do you go to?
So UNT in Green.
Oh,
they go to the same school, and Lily's actually wearing green, so she's coincidentally wearing her school colors.
Yes. I love that. I went to UNT too, so yeah. I love it. Love it.
Yeah. I went to U of H, but it's okay. I'll let you guys have your
have our moment. All right, Tyrek, go ahead.
Oh, hi. How you doing? My name is Tariq. So I'm from Florida, but I live in Dallas currently. And as far as I am on the IT side as far as data analytics, but I did, before I came to the IT side, I did graduate with a finance degree from the University of North Florida. Emphasis on investments and personal finance, but I haven't done that in a long time. And also mortgage loans. So I know a bit about it, but I haven't done it for probably the past 3-4 years.
Awesome. I didn't even know you went to school for that.
Me either.
That's really cool.
I just knew that you were into like stocks and investments or
No,
IT.
yeah. So I didn't know you actually went to school for finance. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Well, it's special treat to have you on the
Yes.
panel.
Yes.
And we have someone joining us virtually today. She's actually Arnavi's cousin. Her name is Mervat. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Awesome. So I will let you introduce yourself. We're so excited to have you. She's also a financial professional. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you guys so much. I'm also excited to be here. My name is Mervat Abdelrahman. I live here in Atlanta. And I have been also in the banking industry for quite some time, but currently I work for the state. And also, I am, like you said, I'm a financial professional, and this is just became a passion to educate my community and people around me about importance of it. About planning is not only about about now, but also about our future and our children, generational. So my mission is to, teach about saving and about generational wealth and just, different aspect of financial planning, and how we could benefit from it as we get older.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here and joining us virtually from
Yes.
Atlanta. We really appreciate you. It is Saturday morning. So for
Yes.
not only our panel, but for you to get up early and get beautiful and join us today, it really means a lot.
It
So we
does.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. So
Thank you.
I guess I want to start. We're all South Sudanese here, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I know that's right.
Awesome. Yes, we are. So, I mean, financial literacy is such an important topic, but I think it's important to touch on our parents. I want to ask our panel, growing up, did you have conversations about money with your parents, and were you taught to save, taught to plan for your financial future?
I love that.
What was your relationship with your parents regarding money? Did people talk about money in your home, or kind of like what was that for you growing up?
Growing up, it was always more of like making sure that you pay your bills on time. It's not about, saving for your future or, you know, um, business or anything like that. It's just more about surviving in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think most of us are programmed like that
Right.
to just work, pay your bills, and be content.
Yeah. And I can relate to that because I think I mean, I'll speak for myself. My family, we kind of lived paycheck to paycheck when we were growing up. We didn't
Yeah.
have like a lot of extra money to do anything outside of like lunch, lunch money, and school activities. That was the max. I mean, my mom actually did get me the things that I wanted, but it was very much like she didn't have it. She didn't have it, but she did it. She made it happen. So there was not a lot of extra income in my household. With my mom being a single mom as well. Pretty much because my dad wasn't. He was living in South Sudan at the time. So it was very difficult to kind of like build wealth in those type of environments.
I
So
agree.
Yeah. And especially like we can also blame them because
Yeah.
they're in a whole different new country.
yeah,
They trying to adapt, they're trying to understand the system, and they don't have the resources like we have now. So
yeah,
Yeah.
so
For
that plays a big role too.
sorry. For me, it's always been my dad working. He was a Malta business owner guy, I call it, because he established so many small businesses. And my mom was a stay-home mom. I mean, she was a nurse before she started having kids. So he's always been the breadwinner for our family. He's always the one that's bringing income and providing for everything. So that's the image that we have. But as a girl growing up in Sudan, up to age 14 when I moved from there, It was when I get married, my husband will be the one to provide for us. But coming to America at age 15, 16, I've realized like, oh no, like both households have to work equally at times just to provide and keep a roof over their head. But also, it's not about not having money. It's about how to really plan for that money you have, whether put some for future retirement or when kids go to college, or put some for vacation, right? And that's why we see a lot of American kids today, they go on vacation on spring break or summertime. In our household, I'm sure if with the same income that we make, we could have planned for these type of event to take place. But that's just because they don't have that knowledge around how important it is to plan.
Yeah.
And so I made it a mission. I mean, since I was young, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make sure my kids have a different ways of upbringing compared to what I had. So sorry, guys. It gets a little emotional, but I guess, you know, that's the goal of any parents in America is to provide better than what we had. It's not like we didn't have many, but we could have more.
Right, right.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with what Mimi just said, because for sure, I mean, growing up, we've always been told that coming to the country, you don't have what these other people have. Like, we don't have that grant money or money set aside, or like other people have the money just set there for you. Like, what we have is what we have. And so just constantly being told that, just being smart with your money too, and also not taking on the same habits that my parents had. And they did their best, absolute best.
Yeah.
And so, like you already mentioned, come to this country, there's always, it's a new environment. And so having to adapt takes time, and they did pretty well. They did very well. And so now just doing better than that.
So do you guys think that it's like our parents we just didn't make enough money, or just didn't have the funds, or we're not like using our funds, the money that we have, correctly in our community?
I think it's division.
It's a mix. It's a mix of everything.
I would say probably not using it correctly.
Okay.
Because, you know, in our community, we are hard workers. Most of our parents, or even, you know, young adults, they work so hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
One job, two jobs, but they're working.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say most of Sudanese are not lazy.
I agree.
They'll get up and go to work. The problem is we just don't understand how to plan.
Yes.
Right? Or even to, you know, preserve wealth.
Yes.
So that's the problem here. But working and having money, it's not a problem. I don't think it is.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it is like that paycheck to paycheck. It is a lot of it is a mindset, because even when I remember when I'm making, you know, minimum wage, I'm like, okay, the minute I make $10 an hour, all my problems will be solved. But then when I make $10 an hour, more bills show up because my lifestyle
creeps. Yep.
and that's just kind of how it gradually goes. So we get to a point where we're like, okay, I just need X amount of money to make all my problems go away. But then when that X amount of money comes, you're not really planning like maybe say, you're not really planning for that future. You're not planning, okay, I'm going to be this X amount of money that's coming in. Like even like what you said earlier, is let me save it first for a vacation, for the car, for whatever. I'm going to put this money to the side. I'm going to keep my bills with this money that I'm having right now. The second job is just for extra. And I think we don't get to that point, even with our parents. Like we said, they're hard workers. Like my father worked 2 jobs, sometimes even 3. But it always seems like the bills just keep building up. And a lot of it is just how America is, being in a capitalist society. We are in a debt country. The way the country moves forward is that we have to accumulate debt. And the way to accumulate debt is Starbucks is $6 for a cup of coffee. Gas is going up. Inflation keeps going up. So you get to a point where you think you're on a race, but you're just on a treadmill. You're just running at the same place. So you're trying to get somewhere, but just can't get there because it just seems like it's not going nowhere. Even though you're running as hard as you can and you're working as many jobs, you're making as much money, you just can't get to that spot that you think
that comfortable.
it will give you that financial freedom.
Yeah,
I agree.
Like
and that was a good point the both of you brought up about vacations. Like, no one's family went on vacation growing up. And
vacation was hurricane season. We went to Atlanta.
Vacation is going to the Equatorial Conference or going to the whatever conference or
visiting
whatever.
Family out of town.
Yeah, that's vacation, but it's not like a proper vacation.
Yeah.
And that's such a great point about managing money. Like, no matter how much money, 2, 3 jobs, it just was never enough because we didn't know how to tell our money where to go and how to like allocate our money and how to divide up. This is going to be for savings. We're going to, if we want a new car, we're going to start saving up for the new car versus going to go get a loan. And a lot of our family members, I don't know how, I think in Africa, they didn't have like credit.
No.
I saw like here people trying to keep up with the Joneses. I don't know how it was in your community, but growing up here, you would see first everyone was kind of on the same playing field when everyone moved here. Like everyone just came, we're struggling, we're living in apartments. And then next thing you know, this person bought this, like this china cabinet. This is a big thing. It's like
the china cabinet.
Yes. And the next thing you know,
the entertainment center.
The next person went there and bought the entertainment center, and they're like, "Oh, they're copying me. They're copying me." Then they went next one, and it's like keeping up with the Joneses to the point where people are buying stuff now. There's credit. You already don't know how to manage money. You don't have any financial literacy. Now you got credit mixed in. People are buying stuff that they can't necessarily afford. And then now they're struggling to try to keep up with payments and stuff. So at home in Africa, everything's cash.
Yeah.
Over here, it's different. So can you guys kind of touch on like spending habits of your parents? Were your parents frugal? Did you ever see them putting money away to the side? Or was it just like, okay, we'll buy this and we'll figure it out later?
I was going to say for the most part, I mean, yeah, bills would come in. My parents would definitely do their best. I know layaway was our best friend for sure.
I forgot about
90 days late.
Layaway.
They got the paying for it.
Now they got
Afterpay
now.
Affirm is a new generation.
But layaway made it easier for my parents to like, I guess when Christmas would come around. Because I think one thing about my parents, like they work very hard, and we all know that as a Sudanese community. And so funny enough, when y'all were talking about vacations, I had the blessing, the opportunity that my parents made sure that we went on vacation. We went to Disney World, went to Disneyland. Yeah, and of course they worked very hard for it, but I think for them, they just wanted to see us happy and enjoy that. And so, yeah, man, it's
that's a beautiful perspective.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I know looking back on it, is like that's a memory I'll never forget.
Right.
And so it's because of my parents' hard work and sacrifice. And there are times where it doesn't get easy. Of course, bills pile up. Credit is don't even get me started on credit. Credit really piles on another monster. But I feel like as long as you're working hard, and then of course when you realize who you're doing it for. And so for my parents, it was us, obviously.
Yeah.
And so
yeah. But no, I agree with the keeping up with the Joneses, because I feel like we did that too in our household. It's like, you want to make sure that our house looked nice. Okay. We had all the gadgets. We had everything was just perfect. But now looking back at it, I feel like in our community, there is a little bit of like, oh, this person has this, so we need to have this too. Like, just reputation keeping and like, like you said, keeping up with the Joneses.
And in saying that, I mean, that brought back a memory because I know we had this 2002 Chevy, right? It had like the little DVD player and everything. When we were younger, everyone thought we were rich just because we had the little DVD player, and then they would come to our house.
I know that car.
They're just like, "Oh, y'all rich," and I'm like, "Dad, we were just like, no, we're surviving." And then I'm like, "Oh, he's not lying. We are."
Yeah,
So.
And I just wanted to add, it's not about just saving, right? It's knowing how to save, because you could put your money in savings account, right, for 10 years. What are you getting? Is your money actually working for you or growing for you? So knowing as growing up, right? Our parents will say, okay, you have a job now, you need to open a checking and a saving, right? The regular traditional accounts, and that's it. Nothing else about investment or different type of other financial portfolios, just checking and savings. So now as an adult, I realized that it's just not savings account. You could put your money in savings account. You could put 100,000 in your savings. 5 years later, right? That saving will have 0.01 interest. 5-10 years later, you probably only earn $3,000.
Yeah,
that's
with
before
inflation and everything.
So your money actually
Exactly. Exactly. So we kind of have to
love her. I just love her.
So I love that. Okay, so do you think? Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I was just gonna say that most of us here in America, we are. I will say, especially the Sudanese community, we are part of that 95% that go to work, have multiple jobs. We put our money in savings and checking accounts, right? And that's about it. We have minimum tax advantage. Not only that, right? We don't have any advisors. We don't talk about, we don't have any plan.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's other part of America that we call them the elites, right? They plan their lives. Not only them, but their children. They start planning for their kids at an early age. Our community, we don't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't plan for our kids.
Mhm.
We don't plan, what if something happens? What if I lose my job? Now I lost my income. How can I replace my income?
Right. And I think that's actually a really good point, because with savings accounts, yeah, you can save a lot of money, even up $100,000. But if something happens and you need to use that $100,000, it's gone. Like, you know,
Yeah.
now
It's
you're
gone.
you're
need
back
to have
to
your money working for
Yeah.
you, like
Yeah.
she said. It's like
Working for you, exactly.
yeah, you can
You need to
save
know where.
like your emergency fund,
Yeah.
but the
Once it's
money
gone-
sitting there is not doing anything. You need to be investing it and like diversifying and all
Right.
that. Like
So
what you're saying.
Exactly.
I want to ask the ones that are in that field, how do we as a South Sudanese community get our money to work for us, as opposed to just like, because that's all we know is like saving. How do
Yes.
we get into like actually making our money work for us while we're sleeping?
I think the rule of thumb
Okay.
is understanding how
There-
accumulation works,
Mhm.
compounding works, and the rule of thumb is that you have to have your money working for you, right? You want to be able to set aside each money. I mean, set aside dollar amount each month in an account that has a better return. You know, whether
like a high
interest
yield
account.
savings account or something
No,
like
there's
that.
other.
or-
There's many other. I want to say interest bearing account that you can put your money into, but understanding how that works, it's a first step, right? Put your money into an account that has a return, and make sure you're disciplined also with that over time, because it's easy for us to really dip into our saving because we consider it emergency.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My friend here can relate. But I honestly just think like discipline over time, that's help in better to have a better return. And I was listening to you earlier. I'm sorry,
Mervat.
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 Mervat. Okay. I was listening to you and talking about tax advantage. I mean, there's so many accounts out there that are tax advantage, so we don't have to worry about it. I mean, we all know 401k, right? That's not a tax advantage. That is a tax defer, meaning that when you turn 59 years and a half, you can take it tax free or pay partial, right? But there is other tax advantage account that you could put with your money after your tax money, right? After you pay taxes and that's your net pay, you could put your money into an account that accumulate interest over time. And it's important to know that kind of account exists. And you have Text Now account, which is your checking account. Those are Text Now, of course. So putting money in your checking is not really going to benefit you in the long run. But I think that's kind of the key here. It's learning how to maximize your money in the time that you have now, and look at overall plan of whatever you put your money into, I guess.
Feel free to jump in there. I think you had something to add as well.
Go ahead, Mervat.
Oh no, I definitely agree with what she said. Just knowing, right, that there's accounts out there that could help with taxes, right? Not only now, but we also have to think about when we get old, retirement age.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
And not only that, an accounts that could also help replace your income due to any type of illness. Now, if you are a single mom, if something happens to you where now you lose your income, what would happen? You become homeless, right? At some point, because you just lost your income. You have to pay your rent, you have to pay utilities, you have to feed your children, but now you're ill. What would happen to you then? Who will help you? Family will step in and help, but for how long?
Right.
So those are the things that as a community we need to start thinking about, right? What if this happened to me? How
Right.
are my kids protected?
Right. And that's such an important point, because even when it comes to families, I think one of the leading causes of divorce is like around money.
Yep.
So
Yes.
you were talking about something earlier, Mervat, where you brought up, I think it's called the black tax. how for us it's harder because we don't have that privilege of having parents who created a financial plan for us to kind of just follow into when we reach 18. And we are coming from a place to where we not only are trying to build our own lives, but we also have to help our families and send money back home and take care of our parents and all of that type of stuff. So it's different when you have your parents saving up for you, telling you, okay, this is your financial plan. This is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to build credit. This is how you're going to save. This is like, it's different. So we're coming at a disadvantage. We're already starting from behind. Exactly. So like, that's another thing that we face being immigrants is that black tax. The fact that I'm trying to build my financial future and, you know, get myself stable, but my family's asking me for money every other week. So how am I able to, how am I supposed to like, you know, build a savings and start investing and all that when I'm constantly having to send money to family members?
Yeah. So we don't really have a lot of extra income because we always have
because they're not financially literate either. So when you're giving them money, you're actually hurting them. You're like enabling them,
right? And then and the next month they still need money
because they think you got it because you got a good job,
like,
but
they think, you know how they say the money grows on trees,
right?
So your family back home,
exactly.
So how do we kind of like break that?
I would say budgeting. Honestly, everything starts with budgeting. When you're honest with yourself, right? You know how much coming in. You know what your monthly expenses are. You got to know what your liabilities and asset. And it's important to build asset because you wanted to fall back on something in case you don't have anything. You could look at the tax advantage. You could look at your retirements. Anything that could help you grow income on top of it each month for later. That's your asset. And then we have to look at liability. You got to reduce your liability too because we're talking about your car is a liability, by the way. A lot of people didn't know that. Your expensive watch is a liability. These are the things that we have to lower it to be able to maximize on our cash flow. Cash flow comes from income that's left after your expenses, after your savings that you set aside, all of these. So if you're able to live based on budget, and within that budget, you're able to say, okay, this is how much I'm able to contribute every month to my family. I send money to Africa too, but I have to factor that into my budget. Can I afford it? That's a rule of thumb. If you can't afford it, don't play with yourself because you know what? You're going to be shorting the other bills. Therefore, it's going to cause the other bill to fall late and then it's affecting your credit. And then next thing you know, you're dipping on your credit card, accumulating more debt on that, accumulating interest on it. So yes, you can help, but plan it. Plan it comes into a budget. And then that way you're able to be you're not really stressing yourself at that time.
Should we start saying no?
Well,
if your budgeting comes down minus, you want to say no if you're left with a negative every month.
But that's the thing too in our community, right? There's something we call mujamalat. Right?
That's our weakness.
That's
can you translate that to our audience?
All our non-Arabic speakers.
Yes.
Daddy, go ahead.
Sorry, you're gonna.
My mic's not working.
Oh, please.
We have family members are still friends with us after today.
I don't know. So is it like just pacifying people, like just going along?
You can't say no.
Being generous.
Yeah, like you can't say no. Like even if you don't want to do it, you would just say yes to please them.
Exactly.
Or not to just
people please.
So they don't say, oh, binere gelada, or
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a big part of our culture. We just don't know how to say no to.
Exactly.
At all.
Exactly.
Even if we budget, right? We still don't know how to say no. Mujamalat still will enter enter somewhere. So it comes to you having discipline.
Yeah.
Right? Budget, but also add that discipline.
Right.
Yeah. Because we even talked about it earlier. Like it says it's hard to be happy on social media because even if you budget, but like I want to go, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go on vacation. Somebody in Africa gonna look at you like, yo, you got money.
So you told me you couldn't help me with rent, but you're on vacation.
And I'm like, I've been budgeting this for the past 6 months for me to have this 1 weekend. Break and you can't even enjoy yourself. So I think a lot of it is you got to have that budget and discipline and you have to say no because It's actually a great book called The Power of No, and a lot of people just can't say no because when you budget and you have that money in the savings and somebody comes to you like, because they're gonna go to the bottom breaking point, like, man, I just need this $100,
Oh yeah.
and you have the $100 in your bank account, and it's hard to say, I can't help you
Yeah.
when you have it there, and you're like, yo, this is family, this is my cousin, this is my brother, this is my
Right.
etc. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it to you now. 6-7 months go down the line. Now you asking him for the $100 back, like you borrowing that money back from you because I'm like, a lot of it is like, yes, you can do that, you can do the budgeting and the discipline, but also I think you got to put conditions when you give money to people. It's like, okay, you want me to give you $500? This is what I want you to give me. Give me a business idea. You're in Kenya, you're in South Sudan. I need a business idea in there so that I can put that $500 in there, or I can give you the $500, but I'm going to charge you 1% interest.
Need a payment plan.
Payment plan.
Yeah. And
how do you plan to pay this money back?
You're going to plan.
When can I expect payments? To be
and
starting?
a lot of times they're not gonna reach back out to you after you put that out there.
And that's why they say when it comes to just to save certain relationships, if you can't just flat out give it to them, don't even bother letting people borrow money.
If you can't afford to just not get it back,
just
don't
give
even
it to them, or else you risk that relationship.
So what are some other ways as the South Sudanese community that we can grow our money, investments, like invest into certain accounts or businesses? I mean, I don't think there's any structure, like legitimate structure that we have. Like, I mean, we do Sanduk, where
oh my God, can we talk about Sanduk?
Let's talk about something.
Can we talk about Sanduk real quick? Can we talk about the Sanduk?
What would that be considered?
But it's like I think every month, every family member, they put money on one person, and then next month it's a different person.
It actually does work if
everyone contributes.
If there is a plan in place, like because the majority of minorities. Other minorities do this, from Jewish people to Spanish people to Koreans, etc. Because what they do is because almost every nail shop is Vietnamese for a reason, because they do the sunduk. When a Vietnamese family comes here and they say, oh, hey, I have a business idea, the community puts money into that business idea and then they get paid back interest. They don't have to go to the bank. So I think it can work, but there has to be a structure in place where it's like, okay, this is a business that I want to do, whether it's a grocery store, because a lot of times, you want to eat some Sudanese food, but Kroger's don't sell no none of those stuff.
They don't sell combo.
They don't sell combo. You know, so if somebody comes up like, yo, but then also at the same time, it's like we have to support these businesses, because a lot of times there are Sudanese businesses that struggle because nobody wants to go there. People are like, the price is too high. Oh, this guy thinks he's better than me, because like you said, we're keeping up with the Joneses, because I'm like, man, my money's going to him. He's putting his money to this new car, and I'm still driving my Corolla. It's like,
oh my God,
so
that's true.
It is part of that. So I think a lot of it is like, I always go back to mindset. We got to kind of get rid of that mindset where we are saying, okay, we want to contribute to the community instead of individuals. And I think a lot of us, we come to America, we have that individualistic mindset where we want to just keep going forward. And then at the end of the day, when you get to 65, 70, the only people that's there for you is your family and your community. You're gonna be at the end by yourself. So I think that's the main thing that we got to do, is kind of come back to that community.
I've seen Sanduk work magic in our community here in America, and I've seen it helped a lot of family to be able to buy a house.
Wow.
You know, they use the Sanduk money. About 10 people can put their hand together, either $1,000 a month or 500. But that's hardcore saving, you guys, because it's not in your account. You can dip into it, but it's handed to someone else to do something big with it. I've seen family build home back home with the Sanduk money. I've seen family bought a home because they're able to afford the down payment. I've seen people, bought a car for their kids and all of those things. But it starts with knowing your circle that you're gonna join for the Sanduk. It has to be trusted people, of course.
The person managing the money.
And you gotta know how to go into their home and take something valuable in case they don't pay you back, right? But I'm just saying, for example, like you gotta know your people.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, a bank is basically a Sanduk. It's just you're not able to take the
somebody
money.
explain Sanduk? Just for our audience who may not know what it is. Can somebody break it down?
So I'll share it. You guys could chime in. So Sanduk is a pool. Let's just say it's a pool where everybody put their money in it. And then it depends on who wants to go first, second, third, or last. Depends on the need. So today I could be in need of buying a house. So everybody, like 10 people, would put their money together and give me the first hand.
Mhm.
And
So
then
let's
the
say
second
all of
person
us
will
here
I
on the
love that.
panel are going to do a sanduk together. $1,000 a month.
$1,000. This is for, I mean, 6 of us. That's
Mhm.
$6,000.
That's
And then-
6K.
So the first month you will get the 6,000.
I'll get the 6 months.
Next
But this
month?
first month, let's say on the 1st or the 15th, and then next month it'll be her-
Lily will
Lily.
get the 6,000.
Yep, and then
Just
I'll
keep going.
still pay
Sounds good.
the 1,000 because
Mhm.
even though I
And that's
received
an
it this
important part.
month,
You still
I
have
still
to.
have to pay
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I said it's important with
Mhm.
the trusted.
I actually didn't know that the Sanduk was also for like big things like buying a house, home
Yeah.
ownership. I really
Yeah.
thought it was just more so
Oh,
like
yeah.
we
It-
want to.
Yeah, it depends on how much
Weddings.
money you're putting in. But
Yes.
if you guys,
That
if you have a
Depends
big
on your
group,
goal too.
too,
If you
yeah.
Okay,
don't
so
do
there's
it
a
if just-
goal.
you have to have a mindset
I-
to why. Go ahead.
Yeah, I actually know a few families here in Atlanta that, interests in, they're Muslims, so interest is like a no-no.
That's a good one.
So few of them come together, they put money to buy a house. After a few more years, they'll put money together again for another family. That's how they, start buying homes in their community. They're Somalians.
Yeah, because
So-
I think even with ownership, the biggest barrier is that down payment.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people
Closing
Mhm.
costs.
because
too.
the
Mhm.
mortgages
You
typically
can-
is going to be cheaper than
Mhm.
rent, but a lot of people will
Mhm.
keep paying rent because they just don't have that 10,000 to put into into a loan. So with that being said, like if you have a trust of pool of people, if you have 10 people in 10 months, if each of you can have a house, and from that house, once everybody's pays off, now you can do a refinance and take money out of that equity from that house and use that money to even build even more. So I think a lot
Right.
of it is the money is there. We just don't have the knowledge a lot of times, and we don't have the trust amongst each other to pool that money and that knowledge together.
Let's
Right,
prove them wrong. Let's
right.
do our own.
And I actually work in real estate, so I see it all the time within our community because I get the most referrals from people in the community just with my parents and having grown up here. And our community has a financial literacy problem. That's why when I connected with Mimi, we've had so many conversations about how we can come together to like create workshops or different seminars for our community to be able to educate them because they just have no idea. They're living paycheck to paycheck. There's no savings. And when I'm approached, usually I will send them, like connect them with the lender to where they'll have to submit like W-2s and bank statements and all that type of stuff. And I have seen so much to where like they're thinking they're living on credit or it's just really, really bad. So first we have to start all the time from credit repair before we can even get to the point where
Yeah.
you're getting like approved so that we can actually go shopping and look for a home.
Yeah.
So
Ooh, that's deep.
there's a big need in our community. We've been here a long time and a lot of families are still doing things the same way, getting their check and then just trying to catch up with whatever they needed to pay from beforehand. And now they want to buy a house, but I'm like, you're in trouble. Like, yeah, of course I would love to sell you a home, but if I sell you this house, I don't want you to get foreclosed on in 2-3 years because you have no idea how to manage your money in the first place. And now you're going into a home, which is a big investment because when you're renting, you can get your landlord or whoever to come fix stuff. But when you buy a house, you're responsible for everything in that home. And you need to be putting money aside to be able to have money in case your water heater goes out or something happens to where you don't have to go into getting a credit card or doing something crazy like that. You have to save for something to happen with your home. And if you're not even just saving just for your own personal emergencies or whatever, then I can't even begin to explain to you how you need to be putting away money for your house. Because for them, it's like, for what? Like, what's the point?
And don't you have to pay taxes on your house too?
Yeah, you pay
Property
Texas
tax.
property
Yeah,
taxes.
tax.
Texas has one of the worst.
And don't live in an HOA.
Oh, HOA, that's another thing.
HOA too.
One of my
But there's a lot of
One of my
there's-
friends said they paid like $10K for their
Property
property
taxes?
tax. I said, my
Yeah.
But
God.
there's a lot of
Could be
ways to
more,
go
too.
around it because you can get a homestead exemption.
They don't file
if you
it.
get
That's
if you get the
problem.
right amount of land and put any
Get a
type of
discount.
livestock,
Mm-hmm.
you can get an exemption on taxes because it's a farm. So you can put a goat in the back
Exactly.
every 3 months
goat.
and roast it. So I think a lot of it with homeownership because a lot of people they have this one mindset
Right.
with loans is like, oh, it's 20%. They don't know that there's FHAs. There's there's
You
another
can even
one.
buy a house without going
with
through the bank.
with 0%. Yeah, you can buy it directly
When
from sellers financing.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
can go direct to the homeowner. So people don't even know. You don't even have to go through a bank to buy a house. There's so many other ways. If you want to go on the investing side, like there's so many cheat codes that our community just doesn't know. And it really sucks because like we are so behind. And like you talk about the crabs in the barrel mindset. I don't want to support your business because I don't want you to be winning. I don't want to you to be ahead of me.
Yeah.
But I don't see the big picture that in the long run, by your business doing well, you're going to be able to give back to the community, which is going to help me in the long run. And then when I start my business and so on and so forth, like the Somali people do, like the Ethiopian people do, so where now everything, they have their own ecosystem. They don't have to go outside of their community. They can go grocery shopping at their own grocery stores, go get their taxes done with their own tax professional. They have trucking businesses. They have event halls.
Yeah, and then we would have somewhere to get our combo and like in one place.
Yes,
we don't have
they
to go to
buy
Kroger
real
and Walmart. And like, you know,
keep that.
Yeah, they buy real estate, which is one of the biggest things I always see is like I always talk about. They will go and buy a commercial building and then they will lease out those spaces to other Ethiopian businesses. Like they own their churches. We as a community still don't own the church. We still rent. And we're like getting displaced, and then we have to go and beg people to let us rent their church back room somewhere, not even the main sanctuary for us to be able to pray there on Sunday. It's really bad.
Even like a wedding hall, it's like simple stuff like that. We had to use like the Northern Sudanese wedding hall because they have their own.
Or the Kenyans,
and we have
or
to
the
borrow.
Ugandans.
The
Like
one in
we're always
Ghana.
at the mercy of other communities.
It's
Why?
just the mindset.
Yeah.
The mindset. I
Our
agree with that.
mindset.
So it sounds like you guys are pro
Like you
Sanduk
said.
though.
I'm
Sanduk
pro.
works.
Sanduk works, like I said.
With the right people.
With the right people.
Like
I have to always add that to the end. I don't
It has to be the right
endorse
person.
anything easily, but I mean, Sanduk could work in an event where you know for sure you're helping another person in place. So I can give you an example. Like I know a family and they did the Sanduk purposely to be able to help this one individual to basically get married. Right? Because we know the dowry is expensive. So the goal behind it is that, okay, we're family. We don't have money to just give you, but we can give you money so you could take a lump sum up front, be able to pay it over time. It's just like a loan with no interest. And I think also she touched on it earlier is that people use it because they don't want interest. In the Muslim community, interest is considered haram. They don't like the interest that they accumulate on their saving, or they don't want interest on the loans that they take because it's haram. So you see the Middle Eastern, they usually use the method of Sanduk in terms of just picking themselves up, helps one person to start a business, get married, buy a house, and all of these things. But I think for me, I feel like our community needs to focus mainly on how to live based on budget. Don't live beyond what you can afford. And so that's going to help you to be able to accomplish those bigger things. Debt management is the key. And it's actually one of the decline reason for a mortgage application if you're trying to buy a home. Because if your debt to income ratio is very high, they're not going to give you a $200,000 debt on top of what you already have. So it's important to manage your debt. It's important to know when is it the right time to take a loan, when is it the right time to buy this expensive things. So that way you're not hindering yourself in the future if you're ever trying to get such a big investment.
Yeah, and that was a big thing. Even like in mortgage lending, and it's people will come in there with high income, $400,000 a year, $500,000 doctors, and then
They're
once
broke.
you go through their liabilities, their debt to income ratio is like 10, 20, 30%. It's like, where's your money going? Because it's just what they did is like you said, keeping up with the Joneses. Like,
Lifestyle
okay, hey, my neighbor got a Beamer, I got to get a Mercedes.
I got to get a yacht.
Keep going up, and people don't realize that they just don't budget. They're just thinking, my money keeps coming. I'm getting a 5% raise next year. I'm good.
And I think that's the biggest issue with our community is our debt to income ratio is just wild. And we think that if we have money that we can see it, that it's ours. But
if
it's
you
like
can make the minimum payments.
right. Like if you see the money, then it belongs
y'all
to you.
Yelling right now, bro.
And if you don't know,
these kids.
and if you don't know what a debt to income ratio is, you just take your liabilities divided by what you make each year, how much you're paying out, and how much you make.
Right.
Income minus expenses.
Typically it's supposed to be for home finance supposed to be 6%.
Right. And it's crazy how
the average is 20% right now.
someone who's making like
25 to 30.
200,000 could be in a worse financial position than someone who makes 75,000 because of the way that they manage their money. So I think sometimes people look at like salary and income and say, "Oh, this person is making six figures. They must be rich." But you might have more money than them if you really break it down and look at it, because they are spending more than they bring in per month. And I really like want to take it to Lily because she's 18. So for her and anyone in the community who is looking to like get their financial house in order, what are some tips from our financial professionals that you would give to someone who is fresh, brand new, like doesn't have any credit? Hopefully their parents didn't put anything on their credit in their name or anything like that. But
That's something we got to talk about too.
But someone who is 18 years old and is like, I want to make sure that I do this right. I don't want to set myself up to, be in a bad situation. What advice would you give to someone at that age?
Budget, disciplined, and also knowing where to put your money. I do insurance, okay? And this is something that we don't discuss in a Sudanese community or Sudanese homes, because when we do, the only thing that we think about is death. But it's more to it than just death. So I would say for a young person at that age, they will need to start a policy for themselves at that age, because their money will grow in compound interest. It will be protected. The growth would not impact by the market, meaning if the market goes up today, it crashes tomorrow, their money is protected. Okay. One, they're protected from any illnesses, right? They could replace their income when that happens. They're building cash. I will use the word accumulation. They're accumulating cash in that account. There are so many more benefits into it than just, like how we see insurance as just a death benefit. It's more to it than that.
So when you say open a policy, you're speaking on like having a life insurance policy. Yes.
Because I think there's different types of life insurance. I'm talking about index.
Okay.
Universal life insurance. That index life insurance has so many benefits that will benefit young adults for them to start having that.
And isn't it cheaper since they're younger?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be more affordable?
Yes.
And then there's the
it's
short
cheaper.
term and then the long term, like the fixed life insurance.
Yeah, but
policy,
those
right?
that's what I was just mentioning, that there's a different type of life insurance.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the index life insurance.
Okay. So that's completely different than those.
That's
two.
completely different.
Okay.
Yes. It has that index account in it, and that's where you accumulate your cash.
Okay. That's interesting. So just
So
look into that.
that would be my advice for a young adult.
I mean, and that's a good
start
point,
having.
because when we talk about death in our community, it's kind of taboo to talk about money. It's just like when someone dies, everybody just puts in money, and we figure it out when it happens.
Right.
Like
Yes.
when it happens,
Yeah.
then we'll talk about money, but we don't talk about the planning like before.
How do you have that conversation with people in our community?
It's very hard, because most of them will say that, well, if I ever die, the community will bury me.
Yeah. I mean, that's true.
Because
we will.
Or I've been paying for families for many years. If anything happens to me, they will take care of me. Why are you depending on churches? Why are you depending on your community? You in this country for a reason. You have a job. Not only that, you have families, you have children, you have wife, right? Even if the community will bury you, how about your children and your wife? Not only that, how about when you retire?
That's a good one.
Do you have, 401k will help, right? But that 401k, you have to pay taxes on that 401k.
On the
And
back
right
of it.
now, taxes is high, right? We're paying high in taxes. Imagine when we get to a retirement age. Not only that, your money is protected from any type of bankruptcy, any probate court. And this is something that we don't know about too in our community. Probate court.
So with the index life insurance, it will. I know we hate talking about death because it's it's just a taboo thing to talk about. But it will bury you, pay the expenses of burying you, but it'll also leave something behind for the people you left behind on Earth.
Yes, that, but also you can still use it while you're alive. So it's not
Oh,
only for
interesting.
death.
Okay.
Yes, because you're earning your compound interest. You could withdraw money from it. You could take loan from it. And this is what those elites use, right? JCPenney opened JCPenney from his policy, life insurance policy. Disney World, McDonald's, the Rockefeller family. You know them, right? They own half of New York. That's
Yeah.
how they build their wealth. This is
Actually,
one of the safest things that you could do for yourself,
Nice. Okay.
because
yeah.
it will help you accumulate cash, save your money properly, because we work hard, right? We'll save money for good 1 year, but something happens, like we talked about earlier. Someone in Africa will call, oh, I'm sick, I need to have surgery, this and that. Now you're taking that money from your saving and sending it to them, and now you're back to zero.
Yep. Yep. And Mimi actually does life insurance as well. And the question I
Oh,
asked
okay.
earlier, yeah, it applies to her because her daughter is here. So when we asked like what
Okay.
advice would you give
Yeah.
to an 18-year-old, she actually has her daughter here, and I know she's had a lot of conversations with her about planning for her financial future. So if you can just
Yeah.
add on to what Mervat was saying about life insurance, I know both of you have any experience of anything that she missed.
Yeah. So I will just add this here. Your kids are not your retirement account, are not your emergency savings. They are not going to be your home care or caregiver.
That is so important.
That
You
is-
got to
Yeah.
know that. So
Yeah.
get yourself set up right now before you rely on our kids. But to say, it was really important for me that I prepare my daughter before she turned 18. When she was 12 years old, I actually added her to my credit card as an authorized user without giving her the card. She doesn't know. I just added her, and I use the card responsibly, right? I make sure that my utilization is low, my debt, my payment history is on time. That built her credit. So when she turned 18, she was able to have good credit score. What was your score?
Isn't it like
640 or 670? Yeah. As soon as she turned 18, she was at 670 with no debt, no inquiry history before. I mean, even the authorized user does not put you as it's not a hard inquiry to just say. It's not going to take points.
Yeah.
But
And her credit age, but I'm sure she had
that's what
like
I
a
mean.
few
Like,
years.
yeah. So then the history carried over from when the card was open at the time she turned 18. So we were able to put her on our own account, her own credit card. She had her own credit card open up, approved at $500 with part-time income, working at a fast food place. But but in the process, I had to train her, of course, important of spending, right? I remember I gave her card, and some of the transaction, when I looked at the statements, I'm like, let's sit down and review these, okay? We don't need to go to a hair salon so many times, or we don't need to be going out to eat with those cards. These cards are only for emergency. Like
Gas
if
and
you
food.
yeah, even gas, ask me first before you put it on the card, But it was important for me to train her so that when she turned 18, she'll be set on her own, but I still guide her through it, right? And so that's an easy way to kind of teach a baby, like a child who have no background experience. But then second, I took out a life insurance policy, not because I wanted her anything bad to happen, but no, the type of the life insurance policy, it's cash accumulation. So instead of me putting $100 in her minor saving, accumulating 0.01% interest, I'd rather put in the account that is accumulating at a 7 or 8% return. Therefore, I'm adding every month. And the younger you are, the cheaper it is to take out a policy, an index. Thank you for sharing that. An index life insurance policy, because it accumulates money It is also act as a disability insurance, meaning that if you ever had critical illnesses, any of the major cancer, heart attack, or anything, that is available for you to use as a living benefit. So with the life insurance, there's two options. There's a death benefit when you pass away. There's a living benefit if you do have to go under critical illness or long-term care of someone taking care of you. I mean, I don't wish anything bad on my kids, but that's what's important about planning
Yeah.
for those
Expected.
unexpected event to happen.
Yeah.
It's important for us. And I think telling her those things, I'm teaching her also. I'm not doing it just behind her. I'm also telling her, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want you to use it for. This is how I want you, when you have your own family, to be able to continue that legacy. And when we talk about generational wealth, we're talking about mindset. I like how you shared that earlier. It starts with the mindset. If you, in an environment where everybody just talk about important planning, budgeting, and all of those things, next thing is going to happen, you start to live based on that. And so that's another way to look at generation wealth. Not that I want to give her my death benefit if anything happened to me. If I give her $1 million, if she's not prepped, that $1 million can
be
go
gone.
by quickly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's important to train them and teach them. And I'll let her chime into that.
Yeah, like at first when I got my credit card, I wasn't responsible, but like my mom being on my case and stuff, and at that time I was just like, why is she nagging me? But like I didn't realize as like I got older how important and like going to college and seeing like a lot of people that I know not having that same education, or even like my cousins don't know like how much like that debt to income ratio. I think that really hit hard because I was like, dang, I'm not making that much, but I'm spending way more than I should be making. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that's the advantage that Christine was talking about. A lot of communities have a head start over South Sudanese because a lot of us don't have parents that have the education or the background, and you just so happen to have it, and you're passing that down to her, and she's gonna pass it down to her kids, and it's gonna carry on. And so that's amazing, and it's really important to kind of break that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't fear money, because I feel like that's another thing. It's like, you know, when you have had a crazy weekend and you don't want to check your bank account, or you don't want to see, like, it's like, okay, I'm just going to ignore that, you know.
You don't log in.
Exactly.
Delete
I
the
think,
app.
If I
I
don't
think
see it, I
that's
don't
so
have to worry.
important. Yeah, being able to be comfortable and around money.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we need to develop. Like, I'm in control of the money. The money's not in control of me. I tell my money where to go.
Mhm.
So all of my money, whenever I get, budgeting. Whenever you get a check, you know how much money you make. You assign each dollar responsibility, I think is how they describe it. So at the end of the month, whenever you finish your budgeting, you should have $0 left, because you assigned every single dollar a job. You just didn't let, like, oh, somehow I ended up spending $100 on Uber Eats. I don't even know. You don't give yourself a chance to just have your money just going every which way without knowing like what's going on with it.
Yeah.
Does that make you feel a little bit more confident knowing that like you kind of have like, you know, at least a basic understanding of money?
Oh, most definitely. Like I feel like it helps me like just like it holds me more accountable, and like even if I have any question, I can always go to my mom, and she's willing to give me the breakdown and things like that. Because like I know like being in school and I used to get my refund checks, I was like, ooh, what should I do with this? Oh, I should spend it. And then I give it to my mom.
Ooh, I should spend it.
I was like, ooh, I should spend it. And then I tell my mom about it. She's like, oh, no, you have this. And I'm like, okay, all right, let's go with that. Because if it's just in my hand, which like most college students, it just goes fast. And
Right.
it's not good.
And speaking of refunds, I wish I would have known back then. For any of the college students or anyone going into college, apply for all of those scholarships, because I got scholarships in school. I wish I would have applied for more.
Me too.
Because that's money that after they take out the money for your tuition and housing and meal plan, whatever you have, that money is coming back to you. So
Yeah.
Edward
Yeah.
said, say less.
It doesn't go anywhere else. They can't apply it to the next semester. So it has to go back to you.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Oh, you're learning.
And that's scholarship, not loans. I really want to specify that. Don't go taking out loans thinking that, oh, I'm about to get a nice refund, because I have news for you.
You're never getting that back.
Yeah, and then like I think it's really important. We're actually gonna do a follow-up conversation with Lily and Mimi about how I guess the nuances of growing up with a South Sudanese parent who actually grew up here and is able to give you those lessons and guidance, versus maybe us who our parents came from back home and it's just like a different background. So we are going to do a follow-up conversation with that, just to like put that out there.
Yeah.
And we actually are planning on doing a workshop with Mimi here locally
Yes.
Yeah,
I will
we
be
need
there.
to.
in Dallas.
Yes.
And Mervat, if you're open, we would love to
We
maybe
would
do
love
something
to
with you
have
as well
you.
in Atlanta, or I don't know how in touch you are with the community there, but just to
Yeah.
throw that out
Yeah,
there.
no, yeah. I mean, right now, just actually speak, because I know we talked about it on the
Mhm.
phone, but actually now talking through all of the different issues, I'm like, I'm so excited
There's
for
so
the
much.
workshop.
We have to
Yeah.
keep the
We
conversation.
need
We
to
can't
have
just
the
do this one
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Like, this is not
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, plug in your information so people can reach you, and also if there's anything you wanted to add to the conversation.
Yes.
I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you so much for having me. I'll ask Tariq for your contact information so we could chat some more.
For sure.
But my son have a basketball game that he's waiting for me to sit
Oh,
down.
sorry. No problem. Well, let's get you off, but thank you so much. You were so amazing. I hope that we can
Thank you, Mervat. Thank
connect
you.
That's my game
more.
tomorrow.
You did great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll
And
be,
we'll
I'll
keep
be
in contact.
connecting with you
Yes.
as well. I'd like to partner up.
Yes, I think we should all do a
Yes.
group call soon, because like
Yeah.
I just love your energy, and like you just brought
Your
so much to
knowledge.
the conversation. So we really appreciate you taking time out of your Saturday.
Thank you, Mervat. We
Thank
really
you, thank
appreciate
you.
it. We'll keep in touch.
All right, bye guys.
All right.
Bye.
Have a
All
good
right.
day. Bye.
Bye.
I was just gonna say that something I love, and we've touched on it already, just in the Sudanese community, how hard we work. It's funny you say that, Miss Mimi, because my mom and my dad did the same thing. They put me under their credit when I was a lot younger.
Oh, nice.
And
Shout out
so-
to Auntie and Uncle.
No, for real. So when I
Love them.
bought my first car, like because I know I had a car before, it was like a used title, but when I legit went to a dealership, I'm talking to the dealer, it's like, dude, you have really good credit. I'm like, I mean, yeah. Because at that point, I wasn't well versed on credit like that.
Yeah,
I just assumed,
I guess.
I just assumed everyone was
Well,
having good
thanks.
credit, not knowing much. And it's like, bro, how much? It's like, bro, you got like a 724. I said,
What?
is that good? He's like, for your age. I'm like, all right then. And
Let's
so
go.
I had asked my mom. I was like, yo, how do I have my credit that high? He's like, oh well, when you were younger, I put you on my credit line, and you did the same thing, and then we just built it from there. I'm like, wow.
Wow.
Well, that's
really good.
amazing.
That is really, really amazing. I just
So-
love like your
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
I will give advice if you
Yeah.
if you are getting a car,
But they were
do not-
responsible.
Do not get a loan in the car dealership because they do hit multiple
Oh, yeah.
lenders. And it hits multiple
Oh,
times on your
yeah.
credit.
Like you have
Get your
multiple
loan
inquiries.
before, especially if you got a credit
Yeah.
union. Get it from a credit union, Capital One. Get it from a bank at least, and get it and go there with the offer already.
And now you can do pre-approved without
Yeah.
a real hard inquiry.
yes,
So you could actually contact their preferred lender.
Mm.
And
Capital
just
One
do it
does
that
that.
way,
And
yeah.
then contact their preferred dealership too, so they could transfer
Yeah.
the whole paperwork
Yeah.
without
'Cause all my
multiple
all my
inquiries. Yeah.
I mean, all my car loans been because I my first time getting a car loan was when I was in the Navy, and the interest rate was crazy. Like I put
They got you?
$5,000 down.
They
They
got
got
you?
me. They got me. $5,000. I think my interest rate was like 23%.
Whoa.
On a car loan?
On a car.
That's a fixed.
Oh, I love that car
Oh,
though.
I know the salesman was
Oh, my
so
God.
he-
Nice day.
When
The
you
salesman
came
went
in the
home.
door, he
He
was
saw
like,
the sign.
yo,
He said,
like I hit a
Listen.
lick.
Because they used to come to the base in the Navy base because they know when we come back from deployment, we
Whoa.
got money in the bank.
Right.
So I had money.
Thought
So I
they
was
came
like,
to the base.
they come to the
Wow.
base and they'll pick you up.
Oh
and
my
then
goodness.
It was a 300 on 22s, and I love that car to death. But
I hope he did. He was paying
yeah.
good money for it.
Yeah. I kept it for a long time. It stayed
Yeah.
with me for a long. But yeah, but Capital One does it a lot of pre-approvals.
Yeah.
Yeah, Capital
Navy
One,
Federal, a lot of if you're able to get into any credit union, get into a credit union and just get your loans from the credit union. It's
So go
much
get
better.
your own approval. I think that's so important
Don't
because
let
I do
the
Yeah.
want to get a car.
dealership.
And it
Mentally,
budgets you
you're
too
just
because
like-
if you get a loan for 20,000,
Right.
if you get to the car dealership and you see a car for 25,000, you're not going to get it.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
keeps you in that budget of okay, let me just get it for 20,000, and you know how much your interest rate is already because a lot of times is you sit there and you listen because when I got my truck and I sat there, it's a lady on the other side and the way the guy was saying because I used to be in sales and he was just laying it on her and like oh yeah you want your car payment to be 250 I got
There you go. They said don't go
True.
based off of
Yeah.
what you want your car payment
yeah
to
because
be.
a lot of people don't read them
fine print.
documents
Yeah.
are long and you don't read any of it so
Yeah.
they can get you if you say, "Oh, I just want to spend $200 a month." They'll figure out a way to get you $200
Yeah.
a month. It might be
Yeah.
84 a month,
yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
going to be a while. So yeah,
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that's important to know what you're going to be approved for. One of my finance friends actually told me that they're like, you should already kind of know what you're going to be approved for, so that it doesn't have to be done for you and then impact like
Yeah.
your
That's
credit.
similar
Yeah.
to buying a house. Like you
Yeah.
have to go and
know
get
exactly.
approved for them. I didn't know you could do that for cars though. That's
Yeah.
I learned something.
Because
there.
houses is like you fall in love with a house and you don't get approved for it. It's
Well,
hard.
as an agent, like somebody will come ask you to take them looking to 600,
I do that. I'm
$700,000
Zillow looking
houses.
at $1 million homes.
And then
I'm doing that too.
that's why you got to get the approval first because they'll waste your time. And then you go get the approval. It's like, bro, you only approved for $350. Looking at these $700,000 houses.
Spending time.
Taking up my Saturday.
You say wasting your gas money.
What?
Yeah, I know.
They're manifesting.
I can't even
dreaming.
imagine.
Yo, manifest on your own time. Go to open houses, bro.
I can't even imagine the life of a real estate agent.
Girl, I said, where's the approval letter? Let's start with that. Let's see.
You're looking at North Dallas homes. You're supposed to be in South Dallas.
At Highland Park. You
take it
over
on
here
the
at Highland
Highland
Park.
Bro, they're sending you the credit approval, my boy. You're not even in the game yet.
Right.
You gotta go get your stuff together.
Yeah, that's facts. You gotta get those pre-approvals.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
You know.
But yeah, that's so amazing. Thank you for that tip. And just to round it out, this episode was so good. This is just a part one. We're gonna keep it going and have more of these conversations. But Mimi, you actually brought us some goodies. So I want you to talk about it more in depth. But you brought us this little book for us to keep. And please talk about the workshops that you're doing and everything that you have going on and where people can find you.
Yeah. So the book is actually just Saving Your Future book. It's just a finance 101 book condensed to it's been shrinked, I would say the right word, into like maybe 30 pages. But it's really information that you need to apply in your day-to-day life. It's not just any other statistic and all of those extra pages. But the book is very, very useful. I feel like when you read it, it's just going to open your eyes to understand how money can work for you, how to become your own money manager. We do offer a financial workshop with this company that sponsored. And the workshops are offered online. And if you reach out to me, Mimi Cleto, on my social media, I should be able to sign you up for those workshops. They're completely free, and the workshops are around savings, understand how cash accumulation works, managing your debt, creating wealth, understanding how Social Security works, and just overall things that will benefit you now that you're younger, because we shouldn't have this conversation when you're in your 50s later, ready to retire, not having enough money to retire off. So basically, it's anything that you need to know for your future. That's why it's called Saving Your Future.
Right.
Love it. Where can people find you if you don't mind them reaching out to you?
Sure. I could put a link after this post on the bottom there, how to reach out to the workshop and my contact information. But if you are on social media, Mimi Cleto, on all social media, I should be able to connect you and go from there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love it. And then Lily, go ahead and where can they find you?
They can find me on my Instagram and most social media, Lily Quill or Lily Nigel. So
Love it.
And we're going to hear from you a lot more in next episode. So I'll let Edward and Tarek go ahead and close this out.
Yeah, close it out.
Yeah. You can find me on social medias, @EdwardMitri_. I'm everywhere.
Awesome. Tarek, thank you for bringing your cousin too. She was great. I loved her.
Appreciate
Money
it.
Meavy.
Yes.
But yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Arnabe20. That's about it, I think.
Yeah.
And so thank you guys so much for tuning into the Ladies of Sosa podcast. I think this conversation, we barely touched the surface. We got so much more to go into. So we'll continue to have the conversation. Hopefully you guys will be willing to come back and educate our community. Our parents, a lot of our parents were single parent households or 2-parent households, but they worked multiple jobs. They worked really, really hard, and they just didn't have the opportunity or the knowledge to kind of make sure that they were good for their own future, so let alone their children. So I want to give a shout out to our elders for the
real.
best that they did for us. And hopefully we'll continue to educate ourselves as the new generation to learn to make the money work for us, so we can have South Sudanese restaurants, nail salons, hair shops, tech companies, financial companies, all of that. I can see a financial service like South Sudanese Financial Service for
that would
people.
Be good.
Yes,
You guys are
I
hired.
can see
Please.
that. I can see that.
I'm alive.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you.
Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next
Next episode.
episode.
Thank you. You guys did it.
This was awesome.